Welcome to the Full Dive Gaming Podcast, bringing you a weekly dive of all the news, discussion, and condensed nerd talk you need for virtual reality gaming. This podcast is brought to you by Asterion Products, a top-selling company on Amazon designing revolutionary products for VR and AR, including the Asterion Aura VR stand. I'm Jay Bratt, a VR YouTuber, streamer, and your host for tonight's podcast.
I'm Adam Charlton, a software dev who loves game design and VR. Tonight we have a very special guest, a VR Twitch streamer and YouTuber, Cup of Jasmine. Jasmine, how about you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Hi everybody, I'm so excited to be here. I'm Cup of Jasmine, and we started streaming on Twitch with Beat Saber and have now transitioned into making a lot of YouTube content, mostly to get new VR users into VR, basically answering all their beginner questions.
Nice. Well, hey, we're glad you're here, Jasmine. Those of you who know, we have a great relationship with Asterion, our sponsor. They actually recommend us. They said, Cup of Jasmine is amazing. You got to check her out. We got her here on the podcast so that she can help tonight with keeping you up to date in the VR realm. We're also going to answer questions from our communities, followed by some of the latest and greatest VR news. And then we're going to discuss the games that we like, have been playing, and whatever concepts those lead us to.
If you haven't seen our YouTube channel, we're all sitting here in VR, interacting as if we're really together in one room. So check out the channel if you want to see us in our lovely virtual faces.
Or sitting by a campfire as we are tonight.
It's really beautiful.
It is.
Yeah, the lighting is really great.
It's nice. I feel cozy. Jasmine, we got a question in our Q&A section from Scarlet Ibis. They ask, I saw you have a YouTube also. A lot of people say Twitch is where all the money is for creators, and it's better to start or grow there. What do you think?
Well, that's a good point. So Twitch is easier to start off with and to get affiliate and to start making money. Definitely Twitch is a lot easier in that aspect. But YouTube, it's harder to get monetized, but I think if you do get monetized on YouTube, the progression or the growth is probably a lot bigger. So the payoff is just possibly bigger in YouTube. It really depends, I think, though, on the personality of the person. I mean, if you prefer, more structured schedules and interacting with the live audience, which seems to make the most sense. If you prefer, being able to post videos when it suits your schedule, or being able to record or edit videos when it suits your schedule, then I think YouTube probably makes a little bit more sense.
I like that, and I think it's interesting to get to talk to you about this because I kind of did the opposite. I started on YouTube. I don't really do Twitch ever, but I've been on there a few times. I mostly do my live streams on YouTube, but I built an audience on YouTube first, so I never had to live stream to 0 people. Because the first time you start on Twitch, you're live streaming to no one, right?
Yes.
I would imagine, because you got to keep talking to yourself and keep it going, waiting for someone to pop in and hopefully interact with you. So
I know that would be real disheartening almost at first, because you're just sitting there chatting, just waiting for that one user to show up. Where on YouTube, you just kind of record your content, put it out there, and if someone eventually stumbles into it, they can watch it. But it's not live,
Yeah, I think the difference is, okay, so one, my pro tip for people that are starting on Twitch, this is what I did when, if you have 0 viewers to start off with, it's really hard for other people to find your content. So it's less likely that they're going to stumble onto you and discover you. What I did was I texted all my friends and my family and literally begged them the first probably about month to just leave. I was like, even if you're not watching, just leave this on, because I just need to get my numbers rolling. So after about a month, I got affiliate, and then I could stop asking them.
Wow,
well, that's really cool.
If you're here and you're trying to build Twitch, I think you should definitely listen to that tip, because there's tons of people I know that have gone a lot longer than a month and never gotten affiliate. So I think that's really smart.
Yeah,
that's and you have 2,000 now, right?
Yeah, almost 2,000. I think there's also one more bigger distinction between Twitch and YouTube. For example, when you're on Twitch and say you had a bad stream, or maybe there wasn't that many people or something went wrong, you can kind of brush it off. But on YouTube, because of how much prep work that goes into making a video, and how much build up in anticipation, because you're only doing it maybe once or twice a week, really, posting a video, whereas streaming, you can do it every day if you wanted to. So I think I think you can brush off a bad stream a lot easier than brushing off a YouTube video that doesn't do as well as you hoped.
Well, that's really interesting. So you're saying that. So I mess up all the time. So I should just be going over to Twitch then, right? A little bit easier on the mind, right?
Yeah, because you could literally start over on Twitch like 2 hours later if you wanted.
This is true. Well, and it also depends. I mean, you produce great content. There's people that produce 30-second clips of them playing Rocket League and
That's
put them on
also a fair
YouTube
point.
5 times a day. So like to them, it might not be as heavy. But yeah, if you're gonna like put your heart and soul into every video you do, like it sounds like you do, and from some of the content I've seen you make, looks like you put serious thought into it. I would imagine that would be hard to like have it go out there and you find out, oh, YouTube didn't recommend it to me, but I got no views. So good points. Good points. I appreciate it. Well, we got some news to talk about, but before we do, Adam, do you want to tell our listeners about our sponsor for the podcast?
I would love to, because our sponsor is incredible. We have an incredible relationship with them. It is, of course, Asterion Products. You know them thanks to their gorgeous Asterion Aura VR stand that we've just raved on and on about, and we all have copies of, and it is truly fantastic. But not just that, they have a new product. It's the Asterion Origins, and it's coming soon, so just stay tuned. And in the future, we're going to be able to tell you all about their new product.
Jasmine, have you played Space Pirate Trainer on Quest or computer?
Oh, I absolutely have. Are you kidding me? That was one of the first games that I played extensively on VR.
That is an OG of the VR. I mean, that's out in 2017. I think most people have at least played or seen somebody play it. They're actually coming out with kind of a pseudo sequel. It takes place in the same universe. Space Pirate Arena. And now the crazy thing about this game, it's kind of working off the same ideas that the other did. But the big crazy thing I got to tell you first thing, they are going to have it probably only on Quest 2 because they're saying you should have, you want to play this game right, 32 feet by 32 feet because you're going to be running around in a real arena. A real arena with not room scale, I mean warehouse scale, I guess we got to call this. First impressions, what do you guys think of that news right away?
I'm glad that all of my training is led somewhere, right? But second of all, this is reminding me really a lot of some of the experience that we were able to go to, Jay, in Texas, actually, where you just had a huge open warehouse. And let me tell you, being able to move around in real life was a game changer. And I think that's really the feel that they're trying to go for. But man, that is a huge area. It seems like that's going to be really restrictive for people who just want to pick up and play this game.
Yeah, I'm guessing there's going to be like stick control. What do you think? Because you played Space Pirate Trainer. It's supposed to be kind of the same thing, but in a huge thing. What do you think, Jasmine?
I mean, I am excited. First, I'm like, I live in California. This is going to be hard for me to find the space. But I'm guessing just go somewhere at nighttime so you can bring out your headset outside. But otherwise, I think maybe that is the point that, maybe it's not a pick it up like whenever you feel like it type of game, but maybe one where you get to experience it socially with friends in like the same type of area or something.
Yeah, it's awesome. The thing I immediately think, so like, does this mean that like VR arcades are going to have a surge if they have the space? Just, are they going to suddenly switch to all quests and be like, come down with your friends? Because what's going to happen, you're going to be inside this game running around in this huge arena and you're going to see obstacles that you can hide behind and shoot at the other team. You're going to see places to duck down. And obviously you're in an empty room. These things aren't real, but they're going to seem real the minute you're in VR. You're running with your real legs and you're trying to shoot around them and you're trying to play it. I want to find the space to do this. I'm like, should I clear even if I clear my garage? I have a 2-car garage. That's not that big. That is a huge space to ask anyone to have a 30 foot by 30 foot. I mean, a 2-car garage is typically maybe a 20 by 32 space. That's huge to have any kind of space like that in your home. So I don't know who's going to have it, but I absolutely want to play this game like right now.
Yep. Well, what I've heard people, what I've heard people doing is, or they're thinking about doing, is actually just renting out like basketball courts or something with their friends, and playing it there.
That'd be sweet.
If I'm going to play it, and I mean, I might have to pick up a Quest 2 soon, right? I'm just going to go to the park in my backyard, so I'll just get fried if it starts to rain. But hey, I mean, it'll be worth it, right?
Now, this seems like an interesting hats. The umbrella hat, and just.
It's going to be funny. Now you're going to remember when Pokemon Go came out and everyone was running around the streets on their phones. Once this comes out, you're going to start seeing people running around in the park with Quest headsets on.
Oh, there's going to be an accident. My worry, because I don't know if we told you much about this yet, Jasmine, but Adam and I were just doing a VR tour in Texas. And we got to play in these stadiums where you'd wear backpack PCs and you could run around
Oh,
inside of the
wow. That's
games you were in.
fantastic.
But the problem is, even with that and being able to see each other in real time, we still once crashed into each other. Not too bad. But like, think about now you're wearing a Quest, which is wireless. It's sending the signal of your friend's gameplay, you know, across the world and back, so you see them. Like, if two of you are playing in the same stadium, are you actually going to see each other in real time, or are you going to see a lagged version that doesn't look like he's standing there and you just slam into him?
Yeah,
Well, you
I have
know
a
what
feeling.
needs to happen, right? Have you guys seen those? Have you guys seen those soccer games where everyone's in a big bubble? It's gonna have to be like that. So if you run into someone, you just bounce right off each other.
We're getting ideas here. I got to get the bubble. I got to get the umbrella hat. Adam, what were you going to say there?
I was going to say, like, you know, I really can't remember what I was going to say, so it must not have been all that important.
Well, keep an eye on this Space Pirate Arena. If you need to look up details, check out the trailer. It's based off Space Pirate Trainer, so we're guessing you've probably played something like that. But if not, it was a wave shooter where you're dodging ships coming in and shooting at you. And you're dodging in real life, but you didn't need a space this huge. Now we're talking about this, you know, having multiplayer arenas and so much more. We haven't gotten a ton of details, but all we know is it's soon on Quest, and they're recommending you have a ton of space. So I can't wait to see where this story goes. I really want to play this game.
We'll see how it goes. So
I have
our
one
next
pointer.
What was that?
Oh, I said one pointer for people that do play Space Pirate Trainer. Wear pants or knee pads, because otherwise you'll mess up your legs from rolling around.
Rug burn is real.
Oh, yeah.
Adam, Facebook did something this week, didn't they?
You know, Facebook does something every week, right? But one of these times, this might actually be some good news for once. So Facebook launched a surprise new app called Horizon Workrooms. Now, this is obviously tailored at business folk, but this allows a person to ditch their computer screen and just take it into a virtual work environment. So you're able to, it tracks your real desk and you're able to share your desktop virtually. Your real world keyboard shows up, so you're able to type on your keyboard, but have all of your monitors and all the cool stuff that you can do in VR, like have your monitor above your head or whatever, and do that all virtually. So you're able to pretty much in any environment, slap on a VR headset, pull out your keyboard in front of you, and just start working away. It works for non-VR users too. But theoretically, you're able to, you know, no matter where you are in the world, you're able to show up in the same room as all of your coworkers and show them around your desk and just be in that virtual work environment. So all of these companies that are wanting, you know, to ditch the remote work and bring people back into the office, this could be a good medium for them.
Jasmine, what do you think? I don't know what you do outside of YouTube and stuff. What do you think for an office type work? Do you think this could really bridge the gap?
I think it's awesome. I mean, I'm a huge fan of VR, so in general, any new stuff in VR just excites me. I'm sure you've all heard of the Great Resignation that everyone's talking about, with people wanting to leave the company because companies are starting to ask people to come back. So yeah, we'll have to see how it works and how people use it, but I think there's a lot of potential there. I mean, definitely there's a use case and need for it, especially during COVID time. And I think it's just a matter of how people utilize it and how well it works.
Yeah, I don't see 8 hours of this, but I mean, if you wanted to have a meeting during the day, a collaboration meeting for 2 hours with all of your team, and some people, you have to have the right keyboard for it to be tracked in this, but even if you don't, you can make a cutout in your virtual window. It's almost like augmented reality. You'll see through it and see your hands in your keyboard through your headset. So it really is opening up some real potential, but to feel like you're actually in a room collaborating with your teammates. So I think this is crazy, especially 52 people can be in the room, 16 VR.
52.
16 in VR, yeah, and 36 non-VR can be in one room, one space together. That's too many people. I don't know how that could ever work. But if they were there just for the presentation to see it, I guess that makes sense. But this is kind of based off, Facebook Horizon. They're trying to do the social app that's like Rec Room is Horizon. Now they're adding this work side. Like, they're really trying to build Horizon as a full metaverse and get us all in there working and playing and doing everything. I think this is the right step, but every time Facebook takes the step, I don't want them to be the one doing it. So I feel uncertain, I feel mixed.
Right, but that's the reason why they invested, how many billions of dollars to buy Oculus. This is their vision from the very first step of what they wanted VR to be. And it's interesting that they're the ones that are actually putting in the money to get VR to what it has the potential to be.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with that. I think, in this scenario, if it wasn't Facebook doing it, then who would do it? And for me, I'm just here trying to move VR forward as much as possible and getting everyone into VR because I think it's great. So for me, I'm like, as long as we're moving forward, let's go.
As long as someone's putting in the money.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, we're going to follow this as more comes out, as Facebook does more and more, good or bad, to VR. We're always going to be here for you and tell you what's going on in it. But let's talk about some of the games that we've been playing. First, we got to tell you real quick. If you heard us talking about Asterion earlier in the podcast or in another podcast, they have the best VR headset stands that we all love and own. I'm imagining, Jasmine, you've got to have an Aura, right?
Oh, absolutely. I love it. Use it every single day.
So pretty. It looks so great in your setup with its RGB lights. If you want to go get one right now, go to AsterianProducts.com, put in the code FULLDIVE, it's one word, and get $5 off any order of $19.99.
Oh, that's awesome.
More. Yeah.
All right.
If you need another one, or if you want to get the Vertex, if you want to get the headphone one, no, I'm sure, Jasmine, I'm sure you've got the hookup, or if you need it after this one, I'm sure we can figure that out. But Jasmine, I was looking over your channel and I saw a definite amount of fitness games. You even have Supernatural, which I barely know anyone besides me that plays that. What are some of your favorite fitness games in VR?
Okay, so I mean, I could talk about this forever, so I'm glad you observed that. I love Supernatural right now, for sure. I've gone through a whole gambit of the VR workout, so let me try to do a condensed explanation. Okay. So Beat Saber is great for people that are more competitive, like a more gaming aspect, like to see higher scores, improving. So that's Beat Saber. Of course, it's also the whole ranking system. Great workout, lose yourself into it. If you want a proper workout that, like with a trainer, and it's less about like competition or trying to increase your ability, but more about getting a good full body workout. I would say Supernatural is great. You don't have to think anything, which is what I love about, going to gyms and having a trainer is you don't have to think about anything. So Supernatural does an excellent job of that. And then there's obviously other fitness and rhythm and dance games like Audio Trip or Synth Riders, and I would say these ones, they're a little bit more gentle on your body because they're not as an aggressive of a movement. So generally, I'll play these games more for like a warm up or a cool down. Because sometimes when you're about to work out, you really just don't feel like it. So you need something like easy to to guide you into the workout.
Yeah, and I think we've played. I mean, I've played most of those. Adam, you're a Beat Saber guy. Would you play any of these other ones?
Beat Saber guy might be stretching it a bit, right? I mean, Beat Saber is all right. I personally really like Box VR for like a good core workout. That for me is what really is a good workout because it's really focused for working out. If I'm coming on VR, if I want to play a game, then I'll play a game. But if I want to work out, then I want an app that's specifically dedicated to working out. And Box VR fills that niche for me.
And it's now Fit XR.
Yeah,
right?
that's exactly what I was going to say.
They changed the name.
Oh man, I need to get with the times.
So I have another like little comparison between like Box VR or Fit XR compared to like Supernatural. So those are the two powerhouses of fitness games that are with a trainer and specifically focused for fitness. But the difference between them is, let's see. So the difference between them is like the Fit XR is more of like a punchy, I'm sure right? Because it's like boxing. Whereas Supernatural is a lot more dancing, good vibes, and just like, like the trainers are all more fun, I guess. Maybe that's not the right word, but more like, let's dance, let's groove. And then FitXR is like, you better punch this thing.
One's a taskmaster and the other is just fun. Well, and
Yeah.
Supernatural, Adam, we got to get you that quest already because I want you to try Supernatural and see what you think, because like it has stretching at the beginning of the workout as like a warm up,
Oh, wow.
and then and you see the trainer in front of you in their they're using VR cameras to capture them and then put them in the VR environment with you, and then it even has actual stretching and yoga workouts I've never done, or meditation. I've never done them. I only play the actual ones, but it also has those too. So it's really like a full fitness app.
That's amazing.
In a really cool way.
Yeah. And it's set in like real world environments. So it's like you're traveling through different locations. So sometimes when you are getting tired of the workout and you're kind of wanting to ease up a little bit, I just start looking at the scenery and I'm like, oh, wow, it's so beautiful. And then all of a sudden the song's over.
Yeah. And these aren't just static 360 images like you'd expect. They actually go in and do some retuning to them. So like if there's foreground and you move your head side to side, you'll actually see it switching, with the background. If you know what I mean. I don't know what the term
awesome.
is.
Yeah. Because if you move around, if it's just a static image, that could potentially be a little motion sick inducing.
Yeah. It's not.
They have birds, they have clouds that move. So
wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check
realistic.
this out.
It brings it all to life. And if you're out there and you've enjoyed VR gaming for the gaming side, but you haven't tried fitness, it actually is a great side of it. And kind of, we'll get into this a little more in the discussion, but I think it's another way to convert those people that still aren't quite feeling VR, because you show them, hey, you get a workout out of it too. It's really something else.
Yeah, well, it's sort of that perfect trifecta of VR, right? You have the gaming, you have the fitness, but then this last thing that we want to talk about is the last pillar of VR, which is social, right? And so we want to talk a little bit about Neos VR. So I know that you two have spent a little bit of time in Neos VR. Jasmine, you in particular, you want to give our listeners a little bit of an introduction to Neos VR?
Sure. So Neos VR is a social application similar to VR Chat or Rec Room. The graphics I would say are more similar to VR Chat than Rec Room. I think the biggest difference between Neos and the other ones is that Neos you can build within the headset itself. So I'll give you a really good example. I had a friend. You guys probably have heard of Skiva. So he imported his avatar character, and I was looking at him. I was like, "Wow, this really looks like you." And he said, yeah, except I'm skinny and I'm not really skinny in real life. I need my belly. And so one of the head moderators in Neos was like, oh, just a second, pulls up like the file for his character and starts tweaking it like within the headset. And all of a sudden he got a big belly. Yeah. So you can change the world. You can change your avatars, all internal to Neos.
That's cool. And we spent a little time in Neos, not enough to get like a full deep dive like you have, but I remember saying like it's rougher than VR Chat. It's not as optimized, but it feels so much more free. It feels like when you watch the movie Ready Player One and they're like pulling out these items they've created themselves. Like it feels like that because you can pull anything out in any world. It's not like here in VR Chat we're kind of tied to the props that have been left behind here, or our avatar has to have like a built-in sword that comes out, but it's part of our avatar. There you have like a toolbox and all this stuff in it. It is really cool. Would you say Neos, how long have you played? Has it progressed a lot since it came out?
I'm pretty new. I've only played for maybe the past month or so. Okay. So I would not know about the progression. All I know is like the second I stepped in, I was like, wow, this is a game changer. It's incredible.
Yeah, every time I try it out, I always get that impression of like it has the potential to be everything that we could possibly want it to be, right? But potential, I mean, it has the features, but it's definitely not as smooth as an experience as you might consider something like Rec Room. Rec Room is incredibly polished. Like everything in Rec Room, you get in there and you don't encounter crazy glitches. Obviously, there's some rough edges here and there, but you get in and everything more or less works the way you want it to. VR Chat, maybe a little bit in the middle, but Neos has so much potential. You can do literally anything, but man, things are goofy in there sometimes.
And I would say the controls just aren't as intuitive. So for new people who go into Neos, you'll probably be extremely confused, not sure what to do, not sure how to navigate around. So it's important to reach out to someone in the community and have them show you around. Otherwise, it's just not going to be a good experience. But to your point,
stop calling me out, Jasmine.
the controls just aren't very intuitive or smooth. So it could be frustrating if you're going in there blindly.
Yeah, if you've played VR Chat and you think VR Chat's menu is daunting, you need to check out Neos and see what that is. But I think this is a great discussion to kind of lead into some of the questions we were thinking about for tonight's show, because like I've had this time where I've introduced everyone in my life to VR. I can, absolutely everyone. And you find, that's what we do. That's what we do with VR. But I've recently had one person who I'd let play for a couple years even, and never quite got them there until I put her into an art app and let her start drawing things. And so I was going to ask Jasmine, I know you've done same things. What have you found to be the things that convert people? If we're trying to help people get into it, what are some of the things that you got to think outside the box and get them in?
Yeah. So like, I think one of the biggest misconceptions about VR is that it's mostly for gamers or something. And so if you, it's one of my pet peeves too, when someone has like a friend try VR for the first time and they put them into like Richie's Plank experience or into like a roller coaster, like that's not nice to the new person. They're going to get sick. They're potentially going to hurt themselves, potentially break their TV. So, you should, like, when we're putting new people into VR, let's be, more considerate about what will actually convert them. So in my experience, what I found is, you really need to ask them what kind, like, you have to know them as a person. Like, do they like gamings? Would they enjoy more active experiences? Are they more into, like you said, more creative, more into art? Or would they enjoy like a more social aspect? Really, VR really is just not a gaming platform. It's a lifestyle platform. So understanding the person and their lifestyle will help you pick out the best experiences for them.
I 100% agree. Because I know, Adam, you used to say Google Earth was a big one you put people in.
Google Earth for me was always the go-to experience, even for people that, I put my in-laws into Google Earth and they never really connected with VR. They don't really play games and they're wondering, what is this contraption? Why are you strapping me to this on my face? I put them in Google Earth and they were entranced by it for hours. They wanted to visit everywhere they've ever lived and just take a look at it. It was such an incredible experience for them. So Google Earth is always my first go-to.
It's a great one.
Yeah, and then I put them on a roller coaster.
But after, right? So they've acclimated a little bit. So that's nicer. Right. One of the ones I really like is Into the Blue because it's short, it's surreal, it's beautiful, and you don't have to do anything, so you don't need to understand the controls.
That's always a good thing to think, like, do they need to have controllers in this? Because I put people in ones, that are completely passive experiences that you sit back and watch. But I used to have a Gear VR back in the day, which kind of only had those kinds of things. So it was easy to introduce people to those. I miss some of those intro to VR experiences that the Gear VR had because they were great for anyone. And now we have people like, like you said, shoving people into the most intense experience, putting someone brand new to VR to Pavlov of all things. Like,
oh boy.
Right, yeah.
Such an intense thing to put them in. So if you're out there, you have friends that you're like, man, I still haven't converted them. Think outside of gaming if that's where you're at. I know this is a gaming podcast, but hey, think beyond it and give them some other stuff to try. And you might see, hey, I finally converted them and finally changed them over. Jasmine, how long have you been involved in the whole VR scene?
Let's see. Since I think 2017. It was when I bought, well, actually before that I had the Gear VR, but then that's when I bought my Oculus CV1. So I've been around the block.
And you remember back in those days when people said VR mainstream adoption was like 2 years away? You remember people trying to say that early on?
It's always 2 years away.
and yet again, 2 years. No. What do you think about this? As someone who's involved trying to really help spread it, what's the road ahead of us? How far do we have to go?
Oh, that's a tough question. I mean, I think what do we mean by like mainstream exactly? Is it the percentage of people? Is it for game, like in the gaming aspect? Like, there's so many different aspects to it. So I think that's a very tough question to answer.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like asking, when will PlayStation 5 become mainstream, right? It's like VR isn't going to become mainstream when every single person has a VR headset, because we'll definitely look at PlayStation and say that's totally mainstream. It's more when it becomes acceptable, when it becomes, more or less common. And maybe with the Quest 2, are we already there? Is VR mainstream right now? I think some people maybe could debate that. It sounds like the two of you disagree, though.
It definitely is much less common. I remember when it used to be like I was the only VR person I knew. Yeah. And now it's like because of that, a couple of friends have Quest 2s. And it's actually as weird as I thought it wasn't going to be nice. It kind of is, because then they come over and I want to show them something and they kind of know what they're doing now instead of me having to like really teach them. But I definitely think like, when will people start seeing one and not having any weirdness about putting the headset on. Like they'll be like, oh yeah, I've done this at work and did my training at work in this, and I watched a movie in this. So I'm like, when will it just be you have this and people don't have any weird feeling about putting it on? Because I still encounter that with people.
Yep. I actually love that definition. That's a great
good point.
Yeah.
But you know what? Then yeah. Stop patting yourself on the back over there. At least let Jasmine do it for you.
Yeah. Then I guess to your point, yeah, VR is definitely not mainstream, but I think it's awesome that since the Quest 2 came out, there's so many experiences, new experiences that are easy to get into, and also like starting up, your Quest 2 to start playing and stuff is very easy. So it's been it's been easier for me to introduce new friends into VR because it's not as confusing as previously.
And no cable. That is just such a big thing people don't realize. Like not having to have a cable attached to it really makes people a lot less worried about putting it on for some strange reason.
Yeah, because that way you don't have to be afraid of, getting yanked back when you reach the end of the room, right?
Yeah. Or me pulling on it to try and direct them around. Like, I'm like, oh, they're getting too far. I'm going to kind of wiggle them back slowly with the cable.
But for real, not having a cable is just such a big stress relief when I was able to try out the Quest 2. Because, you put on the Index, and Index is nice, let me tell you. But you're always afraid of, you spin around in a circle too many times and the cord snakes around your legs, Like not having the cable is a really big step to just making it a little bit easier, seamless to just putting it on.
Well, there's another barrier people have brought up, and I really want to get your input on this, Jasmine, because I think this is kind of a weird one. People say that, the fact that we can't see their eyes when they have the headset on is taking away. And so some headsets are starting to think about putting screens on the outside that show a view of their eyes. What do you think about that? You think it's going to help it?
I mean, I don't know. It sounds really trippy to me.
That sounds horrifying.
It's nightmare fuel so far. But you watch the movie. Yeah, go ahead.
To be fair, I actually just got a decal for my Quest 2, and it's like these cute little anime eyes. So I don't know. Maybe it's not as unusual as we think, right?
Did that come to you in some product? Was it with something else? Or did you have to order
No,
it?
I bought it on Etsy.
Oh, that's cool.
It's so cute.
That's cool. Someone sent one with one of the products, and I put it on mine, and I still haven't figured out if I like it or not. But it's not anime. They're kind of like, I don't know what you'd call them, cartoon, angry-looking eyes. They look a little scary. Well, I'm curious about this. Let us know what you think out there. If you don't already follow us on YouTube or something, come comment, tell us what you think. Do you think could you actually make the argument that the Quest 2 is already brought us to mainstream? If so, maybe you should come join us on the podcast. And speaking of joining Jasmine, people are going to hear you here and think, how do I find out more? Where is this person where I can interact with them? What do you want to tell our listeners about so that they can come find you?
Okay, yep. So I'm everywhere. But mostly I would say I'm prioritizing YouTube right now. Like I said, I really want to get new people into VR, and especially new people who don't know anyone that plays VR might have a lot of questions. So definitely check out my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/cupofjasmine. And then I'm also on Twitter and on Instagram primarily. So those are good places to find me as well.
Yeah, well, be sure to reach out to her if you want to watch her content. She has a lot of it out there, and it's all amazing stuff.
Oh, thanks.
And we'll make sure it's either in the show notes if you're listening to us. It's on the description if you're on YouTube. And if you really want to come interact, Jasmine's in our Discord server too. Hit that Discord invite. Come join us in Discord. You can get Q&A questions to us that we'll answer for you each week. Or you can even provide suggestions on things you want to see on the podcast. Or who knows, you could come on the podcast or even meet us in person, because that actually happened while we were in Texas. We met some people, which was
and
really
we're planning on doing more of it.
That's awesome.
It was really cool. We had a great time. Jasmine, I don't know where you're at, but one of these times when we go around, you should come out, because some of these VR places that have us come play things and do stuff at the place, it's so cool. I can't tell you how awesome it was.
Wait, you're in Texas?
No, we were in Texas. We went and visited there. One of our other hosts in Texas, and we got to try out some crazy VR fitness gyms and VR.
Oh man, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, we're gonna make this happen more often for everyone in the VR scene.
Oh yeah,
because
we'll have
it's
plans.
So fun. Yeah,
we'll have plans.
If you want to help support this podcast directly, go on Patreon and find us. It's $5 a month. Goes towards the production cost of the podcast. And if you're listening, come check us out on YouTube. You can see Jasmine here with her amazing avatar. It's making Adam and I both look kind of bad. So she looks so good. Or if you're already on YouTube and you're like, oh, I'm not getting enough of this podcast because I'm too busy to watch it, listen to us on virtually everything. I think we're everywhere. If you know one that we're not on, tell us and we'll get there. But I just want to say one more thank you, Jasmine. It's been a pleasure having you. I'm going to be following your YouTube and your Twitch time very closely because I'm very interested in seeing what more you do to help it get out there, because we're all fighting the good fight together. Get us to mainstream.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you're out there listening, remember, when it comes to VR, what do they got to do, Adam?
They got to dive on in.
Dive on in.